Let me ask you something. How many times have you asked yourself, why is this happening to me? Why me? Why did I lose my job? Why did this relationship end? Why am I going through this separation? Why am I going through this season of stress, uncertainty, pain? That question alone can keep you stuck because, it puts you in a mindset of a victim, just always going through the feeling of woe is me. But today I want to challenge you to just shift that mindset and ask yourself a different question. Instead of asking yourself, why is this happening to you? Ask yourself how this might be happening for you. The victim mindset. I want to talk about, this mindset and elaborate on it. Um, when you constantly ask yourself, why is this happening to me? You subconsciously, you strip away your power, your authority, you give it away because you put yourself in a vulnerable position where there's no fight. There's no umph about you. You're always the target. You're always the unlucky one. You're always going through some hardship. You're always, woe is me. You just everything bad. You inherit and develop this pessimistic mindset when you are the victim. So instead of focusing, on any joy, looking at the glass half full, you always see it half empty. You focus on the pain, the hurt. Here's a perspective I want you to take from this. It keeps you focused on the pain instead of looking at the purpose behind the pain. See, pain without perspective, it'll always feel like punishment, but pain with purpose, it'll actually feel like preparation. So let's talk some more. Now, here's where the shift happens. When you start asking yourself, how is this happening for me? Everything changes. Your world really changes. I think about myself. I'm in a season of roller coasters. You may be going through this too, ups and downs, peaks and valleys. And, I really been going through it on and off for some time now, but some intense warfare increased towards the end of the summer. And you kind of go through those grief and moments of all those stages of anger, bitterness, resentment, sadness, loneliness. You go through all those grief stages. But once I shift my mindset and stop being the victim, blaming my wife for what she's done, blaming the kids for what they didn't do, blaming my parents of childhood stuff I went through, blaming some of my friends for not supporting, having my back, my colleagues for not putting in a good word for me, my boss for overlooking me, and the list goes on and on. Once I started embracing this mindset and shifting the focus, like why, how, and why is this happening? This got to be something bigger. It got to be happening for me instead of to me. Clearly, there is a lesson I need to extract from this. I got to go through a process. There's one thing my wife has said often is, if you don't pass the test, you will repeat the lesson. And that holds true to so many aspects of your lives. You might be in a season where you feeling good, but you truly haven't embraced passing the test, going through those hardships. A lot of us, we just want to hurry the process. We're looking for a cheat code. We just want to rush through it. We don't want to feel anything. We don't want to feel any pain. And it's natural, but in order to grow, you got to feel some pain. You got to go through something. I use this analogy. Well, I use two. I'm a fitness guy. I'm in the gym, and let's say you're trying to get to the next level, build your chest up, get your traps. You know what I'm saying? Let's say you on the bench, you got two of them big boys. And you try to hit 225, 315. In order to grow, you got to put yourself under some pressure, some tension, some resistance. It has to happen. That's strength training. You got to have some resistance in your mind, in your walk, in your faith. You got to have that. And once you start getting accustomed to some of that resistance, yeah, it hurts, it's difficult, but it's not as bad because you're embracing it. Now you can start pushing through. Another analogy, or I tend to use, is I'm a parent, and if you're watching and you're a parent as well, you can relate. You might have little ones, and you see them going through different changes, the growth spurts, as we call it. Their pants and clothes aren't fitting well. Their shoes, sneakers are a little too tight. Teeth are falling out. They're growing. They're going to the next level, and that's what life is about. It's uncomfortable, but you got to go through the process. And I'm a big advocate. I have my moments where I don't fully step into this, but as you see the sign right here is making it happen. No excuses. This is clever convos. But the advocate I'm talking about is there is no growth in the comfort zone. You got to find things to get yourself a little uncomfortable, and that's where the growth happens. I just think about even right this episode right here, this video. I tried to make this same video last night and throughout the day, and for whatever reason, I know the devil, the enemy, adversary, he doesn't want me to get this message to you. There's power, there's truth in this. He doesn't want me to get this to you. And I'm not giving him all the power. However, there was so many obstacles I had to do. It's nighttime. I'm tired. I've been up, mad early, 3:34 in the morning, trying to get my day going, prayer, the gym, all these things. And I want to rest. I want to chill. I don't want to so much do this. However, I know this mission, this purpose is just bigger than my feelings, my emotions. This is bigger than that. So I got to push through. So here I am pushing through. So here's just a testament of overcoming some adversities, and we all going to have them. The word says, we will have troubles in this life. So it's a matter of doing the hard things and embracing that, because, you know, the saying, the quote, what doesn't kill you, what doesn't, kill you makes you stronger. That's true to a degree, but sometimes we do have to get broken down. God to break us down for him to get the glory and for him to put us to the next season, the next level that we need to be. So embrace some of these hardships. This transformation, this process, it's a process of transforming. Um, you'll transform in so many different aspects. Most people, they want the blessing, but they don't want to go through the process. They want the reward. They see the fast, the glamour life, but they don't want to do what it fully takes to acquire that. Even me, as I'm trying and working to build this channel out, it's going to take a lot of efforts. I mean, you see the output. You might see a crispy video. I got myself a new five mic and so forth. But however, consistency is that baseline, that key. So a lot of times I don't want to just set this podcasts up and do it. But I got to remind myself that not only is it bigger than me, but I got to remain consistent. I got to push through. You see the other ones that are, generating a level of success. And if I desire that and I want growth and reach, I got to be on top of it. I got to consistently do things that I may not want to do. So the more I'm teaching and transforming, my mind is happening. I'm getting an alignment, and things is working itself out. Another thing we got to remind ourselves is that a delay is not a denial. And, I've struggled with that. You get rejected in so many different aspects. You might be dealing with your spouse, you go in for a kiss or whatever the case may be, a touch, and you get rejected. Naturally, you're gonna feel some type of way. You go in, you're in the workforce, and you go in thinking that you the next person, next man up for the promotion, and you get rejected. That hurts, but you got to embrace that pain and extract, like, what is this trying to tell me? What can I gain from this? And that denial or that delay is not necessarily a denial in due season. The other part I want to talk about is faith, trust in the process. So, if you're watching this and you're a Christian, or you're someone that believes, you have to understand this, that all things work together for those that believe. All things work together for the good for those that believe. And I believe that to be true. One of my favorite books in the Bible is out of James, and one of the scriptures in particularly is James 1 and 2, where he references my brothers and sisters, um, any type of trouble, count it all joy. And when I think about that, count it all joy, it's saying like, man, you may have gone through like a really rough season, a divorce, a separation, a loss of a loved one, parent, a child. You fell on some real hard times, but even in the midst of those cracks, of those down spirals, if you could just muster up some faith and count it all joy, like this, I don't understand it right now, but it got to be something bigger. It got to be something greater for this. And then when you take some time to just look at some of your past growth moments and success, hindsight 2020, and you're like, that needed to happen for me to get to where I'm going here. And I like to say this often. What got you here won't necessarily keep you here. And also, if you look at it like this perspective, what got you here won't get you there. So, let's say I'm training and I'm playing ball and I did what it takes to, run the bleachers and work on my left hand, right hand, and I made the varsity team. However, that won't necessarily get me to the next level of collegiate or pro. It's going to require more. And if I just get comfortable, which many of us have, and I've got comfortable where, oh, I'm good, I'm right here, I can't really fault myself or be mad if I don't reach the next level, or if I get too complacent and God wants to bring me up and I'm just comfortable. I got work to do. So understand that when you hold on to your faith, the right season, the right timing, you embrace it, your breakthrough will come, and blessings will open up. So I just want to close on this one. If you've gotten something out of this, I got previous videos. Please check those out. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know what you're going through. And, just start asking yourself, what is this preparing me for? Who am I becoming? Because, when you just focus so much on the end goal or end result, it's always, that attention is there, but you're missing so much of the journey, the process of who you have to become. Most of the time, like, let's say if you want to become a millionaire, and that's on my to-do list, and I know I'm going to hit that benchmark, that milestone, but it's just not going to happen off of just luck or free will. I got to put in work. But in order to get there, I got to renew my mind. I got to become somebody different. I got to change. I got to grow. I got to develop into a quote unquote millionaire mindset to be able to have that. I got to change some of my old behaviors and habits and the way I operate and maneuver if I want to get to that level. So I want to encourage you that, you know, stop running. Stop ducking some of the hard conversations that you need to have with your girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse, your parents, your kids, one of your homies. Have some of those tough talks. Take action. Take action. Less talking, take action. So trust the process. And if you found value in this, as I stated before, show us some love, and we're gonna keep these clever convos. We're gonna keep it going. Until then, on the next one, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.